What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. As usual, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. Dan, how are we doing on this magnificent Monday?
Pat, it's a Monday? Yo, are you dumb? This is a Friday episode, bro.
Dude.
No, we'll keep it going. Sit back down in your chair, bro. We'll bounce back. It's all good. I'm doing good. I'm doing just fine. Really good, actually, because the AL East is clinched. And I want to send this message home to our viewers and to you, maybe, because I'm not sure how much you were panicking. Even towards the end of August, I was starting to panic a little bit. But through it all, through all the highs, through all the lows, in the end, the 2022 regular season for the Yankees, massive success. We won the division, clinched our bye, straight to the ALDS, October 11th, which, kind of teasing something, maybe a watch party for me and Pat. I don't know. We'll get to the details on that some point. But, dude, I'm chilling. How you doing?
I'm doing great. First of all, like you said, Yankees are AL East champions for what? The second time since 2012, I think.
Third time since 2012, or if you're saying after 2012, it was 2012, 2019,
since then, you know what I mean? Also, life is good in another aspect of life. Ready for this? You see this hat?
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, this used to be my go-to hat. However, it got destroyed. Look at the old one.
How'd that happen?
But I got a brand new one. And
it's
now,
nice.
Vibes are just so high because it's I have a crisp, fresh hat. And I hate to do it, but that one was kind of on its last limbs. But I feel good.
I don't wear hats anymore, but I'm jealous right now that I don't, because there was nothing better than getting a fresh Yankee lid going into the playoffs. So nice. Good. And also, speaking of Yankee apparel, and we'll get to topic one in just a second, Fanatics is on my shit list right now because I ordered so much playoff apparel. And this has been a problem with them before. I ordered the postseason clinch sweatshirt and shirt. I ordered the AL East clinching shirt. You know when it's expected to ship, Pat? October 24th. For all I know, knock on wood, we're bounced by then. So if that's the case, you might as well send me a...
Bro, they could be bounced for 2 weeks by then.
They're not going to be, but it's just the principle of it. So, maybe it's going to be shit tomorrow. I don't really know, but that shit better be here by ALDS game 1, or I'm going to have to take my ass up to the MLB shop in Manhattan and pay an extra, $20-$30 probably. But
let me just say this before we get into number one. I think it's crazy that you do that every year. Buying postseason merch for a postseason, that might be a waste of time.
I didn't do it last year because I know how Fanatics operates. So with the wildcard game, I was got to get past that first. So I didn't buy it. But no, it's something I kind of collect. I like getting the postseason sweatshirt every single year. Dude, I'm very strict on vibes when it comes to October. And I think you are too. And getting Yankee playoff apparel when I can. And fortunately, 6 years in a row now, or 5 years in a row now, I can. I'm going to take advantage of it, man.
Yeah.
Let's get into topic one. I feel like we've been talking for 5 goddamn minutes now.
Speaking of vibes are high in Toronto. They were high in Toronto. Aaron Judge finally hit home run number 61. I think it was a drought of 7 games? Maybe 8, 7, somewhere around there, where he didn't hit that 61st home run. It's about damn time he did it. And now the conversation arises once again, right? Is Aaron Judge going to set the real home run record? Because now he's tied with Roger Maris for 61. And after the game on Wednesday, Roger Maris Jr., poor dude, traveling all around the world. Does he not have a job to get back? I kind of feel bad at this point.
Him and Judge's mom are probably tight as hell now, yo. They've been chilling with each other for what feels like forever now. So yeah,
they have to be. But he gave his thoughts on the situation.
I think it means a lot, and it's not just for me. I think it means a lot for a lot of people, that he's clean, he's a Yankee, he plays the game the right way, and, I think it gives people a chance to look at somebody who, should be revered for hitting 62 home runs, and not just as a guy who did it in the American League. He should be revered for, being the actual single-season home run champ. That's really who he is if he hits 62, and I think that's what needs to happen. I think baseball needs to look at the records, and I think baseball should do something.
So, Dan, do we agree with Roger Maris Jr.'s comments there about Aaron Judge being the real record holder if he does break 61?
He's my real record holder. Hell yeah, I agree with Roger Maris. Before anything, though, let me say that 1, Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer. I think we both agree on that. 2, the record is 73. I'm not saying that, I live in fantasy land and I'm trying to change reality. No, if you look in the record books, Barry Bonds' record is 73, and he should be in the Hall of Fame for that and just his great career overall. But when you talk about appreciating the record, which I think is what the conversation is more so about, dude, it's Judge. Maris broke the record in 1961. For 30 years, that stood. Nobody came close. Then hella people start going up on roids. Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds. Nobody can convince me. Absolutely nobody. I don't care what you say. McGwire doesn't hit 70 without PEDs. Sosa doesn't come close to 66 without PEDs. And Barry Bonds doesn't suddenly increase to being the best player of all time at age 35. That just simply doesn't happen. I don't think. And I've seen some people, which is so, can you maybe try to explain this logic to me? I don't understand. You ever see people tweet like, Barry Bonds never failed the test? It's like, bro, are you trying to tell me Barry Bonds didn't take steroids? Like, I've heard that so often. Like, what are you saying?
Let me try to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
I think that their logic here is that at the time when he did it, there was nothing wrong with, like, you know what I mean? It's not like
totally. Hey,
listen.
If I was like in a player in the steroid era, I almost can guarantee you I would be roided up like crazy. Absolutely. It was the culture, and I understand it. That's why I think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. I think A-Rod, if he had just his first go around of PEDs, not the biogenesis stuff, I think he should have been in the Hall of Fame. But fact of the matter is, when you're looking at this individual record, judge what he's doing this season, the most impressive offensive season of all time, and he's doing it clean. And like I said, I'm not trying to change history. I know in the books it is Bonds is 73, but you look at the clean, the non-tainted, the non-juice record, what I appreciate as the real home run record, it's Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And like the way I view it, it goes as followed, right? I think each individual is kind of going to have like their own perspective on it. And I think that's kind of okay, because I can't see MLB ever stepping in being like, oh, Barry Bonds took steroids, so therefore his home run record is invalid, and so are all the other guys who took PEDs, right? So I think it's going to come down to the individual, like you said. Like Aaron Judge is your real home run record, right? At the end of the day, like Barry Bonds is still always going to have 73, but your perspective might be Aaron Judge is the king. My perspective might be Barry Bonds is the king. So I think it's going to vary per person. Me personally, like, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Barry Bonds is always going to be the record holder. However, the guy who I'm going to look at as having like the greatest home run season of all time is going to be Aaron Judge, because we look at Barry Bonds and that's tainted, right? The same way I look at like the 2017 World Series. The Astros will forever be the 2017 World Series champions. However, it's tainted. And we won't look at that the same way as like the Yankees 2022 World Series victory.
And
right?
that's all I need, man. You bring up the Astros, it's a great point. Astros fans can say all they want, like, oh, the banner's still up there. We still have our rings. All right, that's sure. You can tell yourself that, but they're shamed more than pretty much any organization in professional sports. Now, I'm not saying I want Barry Bonds to be shamed, and he already kind of is, and it's actually kind of unfortunate, but I will sleep comfortably at night knowing that Aaron Judge, my representative player of the New York Yankees, he did it clean. And come season's end, he'll, assuming he does break 62, he'll probably get 63, 64, whatever. I'll be able to look at him and be like, he did it the right way. And, you can also mention the fact that if he were in the steroid era, loaded up on roids, he probably would have hit 80 home runs. It's all about comparing eras, which is why I respect Bonds. And I even respect McGwire to a certain degree, that, they were a part of their eras, and you kind of have to take every baseball era for what it was, right? You can look at Babe Ruth and his competition. He didn't play against African-American players. You can look at Roger Maris and just players of the 60s and the 70s on amphetamines, which nowadays is listed as a performance-enhancing drug. And another thing I want to say, because we're on the topic of PEDs, people always just bring up strength and like, oh, strength doesn't, or PEDs alone doesn't give you the power to hit 60 or 70 home runs. It's not just a matter of advantage you gain physically, like with strength, but also to sustain over a full season. It's the stamina you get from, that's the main reason people a lot of times take human growth hormone, to be ready to go every single day, especially over a 162 game season. And
especially as you get older too.
100% in your age 35 season. Absolutely. And Judge is doing it all without that. And it's more impressive. And yeah, not to mention the fact that nobody else in the league is hitting. He's 20 homers ahead of the next guy. Whereas when Bonds broke it, I think in 2001, I believe Sosa was still going off with like 60 plus or something around there. I mean, people were hitting 50 like it was nothing. So yeah, the greatest offensive season of all time we just witnessed in Aaron Judge, or still are currently witnessing.
I think we're on the same page. For once,
we're on the same page. Yeah.
Speaking of guys who were, I guess, a little bit in a slump, Giancarlo Stanton. A lot of people want us to talk about Giancarlo Stanton just because I feel like him kind of being so rough this season has slid under the radar just because of who he is, just because of what he's given us in the past. However, if you look at his numbers, he's almost batting under 200, has a slugging percentage under 450, on base percentage under 300. I would say that this is by far his worst season as a Yankee. So now I guess we kind of pose the question going into the postseason. Are we concerned about Giancarlo Stanton? And also, do we have faith in him that he's going to be able to turn things around in time for the ALDS?
I have faith in him because he's too good of a hitter to be playing like this. Some people do forget that he got off to a pretty damn good start to begin the year. 63 games, his first 63 games, 857 OPS with 19 homers. And then he had the injuries, pretty much was the worst 50-game stretch of his career after that. So it's pretty much as simple as like, is he healthy or not? Now, regardless of if he is, he's starting every single game of the ALDS, which me and you have talked about before. Just the mere presence of him alone is worthy enough of putting him in the lineup. But if we get to the point where, say we get to the ALCS and it's not just a matter of him struggling, but you really know when Stanton's off, if he looks completely lost at the plate and you have a healthy Matt Carpenter and then Andrew Benintendi coming back, the Yankees are going to have other options. So it'll be interesting to see how long of a leash they give him. But yeah, we kind of have to bank on him too. I mean, if you want to talk about an X factor for the playoffs, on the offensive side, it kind of is Giancarlo Stanton because Judge is going to be there. Gleyber is having probably the best month of his Yankee career, period, which is nuts. And yeah, it's really just going to come down to Giancarlo. He's kind of the only guy not hitting right now in a lineup that has really turned it around since the start of September. So do I have faith? That's the question. I'm putting a little bit of blind optimism into Giancarlo Stanton simply because he's too good of a hitter not to,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And that's kind of the way I'm looking at it too, right? And I think that's kind of why I haven't realized how bad Giancarlo Stanton has been this season, just because I'm always viewing him as like a presence in that lineup. And that's the same thing that we say, like throwing him in the lineup for every game of the postseason, even if he is struggling. He's a presence. And he just has that ability, flip of a switch, he could go on a ridiculous hot streak. Now, will he go on that hot streak heading into the postseason and in the postseason itself? I don't see why not. Like, just because he's had a down season, I still have a tremendous amount of faith with him that he will turn it on for the playoffs. Maybe that is blind optimism, like you said, but I don't know. I just can't really see a scenario where I would find myself starting to worry about Stanton.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's not even a matter of him. Like, we don't need him to be the 2020 guy in the playoffs or what he was in that one game wild card last year. Dude, even if your overall stats aren't great in the playoffs, if you have one or two moments that push the Yankees towards a win to advance to the next round, or just really any part in the postseason run that you play a big role in a key moment, that's kind of all you really need. And that goes for everybody in the Yankee lineup who's been struggling. Like Josh Donaldson too, man. We've talked about it. Like, you don't even have to be consistently great. Just have a big moment. Come through in a big spot. And if there is any pressure on him to perform, and it'll wipe it all away, wipe all the pressure away, and then that can set him on a good path going forward. So
speaking of guys, I guess on the flip side, guys who are performing pretty well, Jameson Taillon.
I love JMO, man. He's the coolest fucking dude.
He's been solid as hell lately, and he was getting a lot of shit from Yankee fans over the summer, just because like he had a stretch of like some pretty bad starts, but he's been really good in September. 3.23 ERA over 5 September starts, and now with Frankie Montas out, it looks like Jameson Taillon is a lock to be the Yankees' number 4 starter going into the postseason. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Dan, I feel damn good about that. Like, Jameson Taillon is your number 4 starter. You're walking into the postseason with a rotation of Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez Jr., Luis Severino, Jameson Taillon, and then Domingo Germán too. So it's like I'm very confident in the Yankees rotation. I'm very confident in Jameson Taillon, especially from what we've seen out of him lately. How are you feeling about it?
Dude, I'm feeling really good. And just the postseason rotation overall, I want to comment on real quick. I love the fact that Luis Severino is our game 3 starter. Cole in game 1, and then you split those two up, Cole and Sevy, who are kind of similar pitchers, being power pitchers. Then you have Nestor in between them in game 2. I think that's perfect. And then, yeah, man, JMO in game 4. You talk about the bad summer he had, which was pretty bad. I mean, you look at the start of the season, he was great. And then June through like middle of August, he was kind of slumping, had an ERA over 5. But it's funny because in my head, at least for the last couple starts, I was like, damn, JMO hasn't really been all that great in the second half. His numbers are better in the second half than they were in the first half. Pre-All-Star break, he was 10-2, 3.86 ERA, 2.58 batting average against, 1.13 WHIP. Post-All-Star break, 3.8 ERA, 2.24 batting average against, 1.10 WHIP. So he's been really good. And man, I got to say, he had that good start against Boston, which was promising to see because anytime a pitcher on your team looks good, that's like, all right, cool, awesome. But how good he looked against the Jays yesterday really changes my perception going into October because they're a playoff team. You could argue they're the best playoff offense in baseball right now, or at least on the American League side. So the fact that he looked as good as he did and just overall how consistent he's been has me feeling really good about Jameson Taillon. And I got to say, barring like a complete stinker in the playoffs, the trade's kind of been a W. I mean, you take out the first 2 months of 2021, Dude's been money. He's been rock solid. He really has been. And he's a cool ass dude too.
No, yeah, I agree. And like thinking about it right now, I think that this is probably the best Yankees pitching rotation going into a playoffs of this era. Like
No
if you
doubt.
look back to 2017, this is by far the best rotation that the Yankees have. Bro, if you look at the Yankees rotation 2019 going into the playoffs, bro, it was like horrible.
We were relying on Luis Severino to be the ace, and he only threw what, like 20 innings
Bro, I
that
think
whole season.
Game 6 of the ALCS was a bullpen game.
We opened with Chad Green. Yeah, and I mean,
so
you could go back to 2018 ALDS Game 1. Jay Happ, who at the time, got to give him credit, had a good post deadline with the Yankees, but he started Game 1 against the Red Sox. It was pretty much him. You had Sevy and then playoff Tanaka, but yeah, no doubt about it. You have Cole, which that's going to be the main thing. That is a storyline. Maybe my most exciting storyline going into the playoffs. How does Garrett Cole pitch in Game 1? That's going to be like, I try not to use this word too often, but that is going to be fascinating. Garrett Cole in Game 1. Even if I wasn't a Yankee fan, my eyes would be peeled to the TV. At home in the Bronx, coming off the Walker game last year.
Postseason game for Garrett Cole as a Yankee in
wearing
Yankee
the
Stadium.
turtleneck.
Huge.
It's going to be huge.
Dude.
What do you need from him that start? Like, if he doesn't give you this, you'll be pissed.
Give me 6 innings, 2 or less runs.
Same. 6 innings, 2 runs. I'll be
satisfied.
If he gives us 6-3, I won't roast him for it. I won't exactly be pleased. It also depends how the offense is doing and like the way those runs come about. But yeah, I think 6 innings, 2 runs is what we can expect. I mean, granted, it was a spider tack, Cole, but talk about it all the time. The 2020 playoffs, it was money for the most part. I mean, that first game in Cleveland was awesome. Pitched 2 pretty damn good games against the Rays in the ALDS. So
yeah, I mean, it also depends on the run support too. Like that first game in Cleveland, the Yankees gave him a lot of run support to work with, and he kind of just cruised after that. So I guess we'll see. But speaking of run support, one guy who could provide Garrett Cole with some pretty good run support is Yankees first baseman Anthony Rizzo. I guess we could say his first full season as a New York Yankee has been quite the success. With just a week left in the season, under a week now left in the season, 32 home runs, 836 OPS, and that's just in 125 games. And now we're kind of looking at Anthony Rizzo, a guy who has an opt-out in his contract for after this season. Assuming he's going to take that opt-out, test the free agent market, I guess. How are we feeling about bringing back Rizzo for the 2023 season? Because to be honest with you, like I'm all board for it. Just because like the first base market doesn't really look too deep. And also like we see what Anthony Rizzo not only provides on the field, but also in the clubhouse. Like he's not only like our acting manager, but I would say that he's awesome, like top 3 guys in the clubhouse. In terms of just like veteran presence, leadership aspect, I would probably look at it like Judge, Rizzo, Stanton as like my 3, and that's not including any pitchers in terms of like Cole or whatever. But yeah, those are my 3 guys. So I think like you have no choice but to bring back Anthony Rizzo next season, right?
Dude, Rizzo's a Yankee. I don't think there's any better way to put it. And I'll say going into this year, I was kind of disappointed when he brought him back because I was very much on the Freddie Freeman train. I wanted Matt Olson as well. But if you were to tell me going into this year that what you're going to get out of Anthony Rizzo, 32 homers, which is his most since that's his career high act, which you figure he's going to break over these next 6 or 7 games.
That's insane, actually.
Yeah. He has an OPS of 830. It looks like a 137 WRC plus. Has played solid defense, not amazing defense. Like I feel like everybody talks about he does. If you look at his metrics, he's been right around league average. The league average is good. I want him back. There's really not too many first basemen out there. I mean, you can look at Jose Abreu probably being his biggest competition on the open market. Besides that, you got Carlos Santana, Eric Hosmer, Brandon Bell, Josh Bell. So I mean, there's some names, but none that I would say are certainly better than Rizzo. Definitely not better than Rizzo, really. Besides maybe Jose Abreu. So yeah, depending on what the deal is, he's going into his age 34 season. So what do you make this year? I think 17 mil, right around 17, something like that. So you figure I think this time around, he probably does get a 3-year deal. So let's do the quick math on that. Would you give Rizzo?
How old is he? He's going to be what? 32?
30. No, he's like 33 now. So I think next year we'll be going into his age 34 season, I believe. So maybe 345, 15 a year over 3. I feel like he gets a 3-year deal. I would too. Because I mean, even if that last year isn't good, 15 million, that's really nothing.
Who's his replacement? Like unless
exactly. And you look at the farm system on Austin Wells.
No, I was gonna say if the Yankees like look at DJ LeMahieu as a first baseman.
They don't though. That's been a thing they've been kind of adamant on. And I've thought about that myself. Like, can DJ be an everyday first baseman? Which I'm sure he probably can be. They've been like, I've heard a lot like the last couple of years. Like I'm just reading reports that they're very adamant against having him be there every day. I guess he's kind of just like a backup option, whatever. But yeah, I mean, 15 million a year for Anthony Rizzo, and you don't really have like too many options in the minor leagues that I can think of. Besides, if you wanted to, bring up Austin Wells as a first baseman, not a catcher, what other choice do you really have? And you don't really.
Which I don't think they would do, by the way. I can't see that really happening
because it's more so a matter of comparing his defense at each position, right? So I don't think he's that great a defensive catcher, at least so far. Granted, he's still developing. Would the Yankees want to put him there, especially coming off the Gary Sanchez era and then Jose Trevino, who's been awesome this year? I'm not so sure Austin Wells pans out to be the Yankees' full-time catcher. I definitely do want to see him with us long-term, but I wouldn't be shocked if he is, as of right now, if they had a plan post-Rizzo, wouldn't be shocked if it's Wells, which you could still do with that 3-year deal. I mean, start Rizzo for 2 years, bring Wells up for the third. Not bring him up, but
I know we're pushing time a little bit this episode.
However,
there's one thing that I think we have to bring up as far as Rizzo. That acting manager thing with like Glaber's like the bench coach, that might be one of the most fun things that the Yankees have done ever. Like
awesome.
Ever.
I love seeing that.
I think that it kind of like, I don't even want to say it went under the radar because everyone was talking about it, but I don't know. It's just so refreshing to see, and just seeing the Yankees have fun and also like win at the same time while having fun. Just a great sight to see.
Dude, it was like the perfect thing to do for the vibes of this week. What were we even talking about? Like, you clinch the division, and then from there on out into the playoffs, it's kind of like watching spring training games or just being able to enjoy baseball without having any stress. And
unless
doing that yesterday, True, but we're
Mm-hmm.
past that now. I think he's kind of stress-free. Dude, and Glaber bringing out the lineup yesterday, which, speaking of, did you see how hungover he looked yesterday? You see my tweet, like the 2 pictures, I'm never drinking again, because he looked pale yesterday. That was hilarious.
Bro, fun fact, I've never had a hangover before. So I don't even know what that,
I had one literally on our last episode of my flu game app.
Solid.
I mean, that's kind of a hangover. I was kind of still drunk, but I didn't realize we're definitely pushing time.
We're pushing
number 5.
Question number 5, our favorite part of the episode. When you guys do ask fun, creative questions, which is getting a little more frequent now. Dan, we have a good one. We have a really good one. I guess we'll figure out how we'll kind of figure this one out. But Dylan Connery says, how long would you last in a one-on-one fight against each member of the Yankees starting 9, only fists? Now, I think an easier way for us to kind of do this would be, I say we pick one Yankee we think we could beat in a fight, right? And then one Yankee where we least think we could beat in a fight. So Dan, I'm gonna let you go first with this one.
Okay, and can we do a quick disclaimer of no Judge or Stanton? Because that's obvious. You don't want to fight Judge or Stanton. Let's take them out of it. All right, so I'll go first. The guy I'd least want to fight, Josh Donaldson, and for this reason. Dude, the psychos are who's dangerous. It's not a matter of strength majority of the time, and he is a pretty big dude to begin with. He's a psychopath. That's not who you want to face in a fight. So Josh Donaldson, least one for me. Who I'd want to face, I mean, we kind of haven't picked on him in a while, so I don't feel too bad. I mean, how could you not go with IKF? I mean, I could probably, in the ring, in a respectful fight, obviously I wouldn't want to do any damage. And I don't think he'd want to do any damage to me either. I'm a fan. But if we got into a ring and I had to pick one Yankee to, bring down or however you want to call it, probably would go with IKF. I mean, who else? Maybe Higgy. You could also go with Higgy, because music players tend to be a little soft, Not just playing, but who's
what the? So listen, I want to preface this by saying I don't want smoke with anyone on the Yankees.
I realized that as I was answering. It's I'm basically saying I want to beat up IKF. No, not at all.
We're gonna preface this by saying that. However, I'm kind of upset that I didn't go first because those are my 2 options too. Yeah, don't want to fight Josh Donaldson just because psychopath. But also if I kind of want to venture out and not pick the same one as you, maybe a Aroldis Chapman.
If we were going with a pitcher, Chapman would definitely probably be my go-to. Besides him, we don't have too many in Sevy. I wouldn't want to fight Sevy. When Sevy was calling out Manoah earlier this year, that was bad as shit. And I was thinking to myself, if I was in the Blue Jays dugout, I'd be shitting bricks right now if Sevy was calling me out to fight.
You know who I would pick to fight, actually?
Who?
I hate to say this, but a Ron Marinaccio.
How dare you?
I know.
Tom Trevor King, my hometown hero.
No, I know. But also
my era's Todd Frazier.
But also, I guess IKF is a solid pick too. Higgy's a solid pick. Yeah, that's probably the route I'm going with that.
Bader's squaring up pretty well too. I can see. Oh
yeah, for sure.
Yo, we're probably at 30 minutes for this episode by now. We got to wrap it up. It was a blast. Episode 12 in the book. September's coming to a close, dude. Isn't that insane?
Flew by. But it's exciting.
30th, this episode comes out. It's awesome.
Postseason baseball is coming up.
I know, we're there, man. What, 6 games left? I think in the regular season. We got 3 against Baltimore. Then is it 4 against Texas? Maybe we have 7 left. I don't know.
4. Yeah, 4.
Yeah, so 7 left in the season, dude. show's been a blast so far, man. 12 episodes in the book, going into
Going to
October
beginning,
baseball. We got a
baby.
lot. We'll talk about it more next week. But yeah, me and Pat plan on doing watch parties. As of right now, the tentative, is that the word? The tentative plan is to probably do a show after every single playoff game and maybe some pre-games here and there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. That's it for that, bro. It was a good time. You enjoy it?
I
You had a
love
good time?
this show.
love it so
I
much.
genuinely love this. It sets
I
the
know.
tone for my
I wanna
day.
make
And I
love
hope
with
it
it.
sets the tone for yours too.
They get it right in the morning. So, all right, yo, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you are new. And that'll do it. See you guys next time. Let's go, Yankees.